So the first order of business is to call to order and a verification of a quorum. So those with an airplane or a circle on their name badge, if you can raise your hand and we can verify that we have a quorum. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. So the first order of business I would like to take care of is thanking our sponsors for the general membership meeting. Without these sponsors, none of this can take place. So Kaufman and Associates, Mead and Hunt, RS&H, Signature Flight Support, Tucson Airport Authority, ACI Jet, AECOM, the American Association of Airport Executives, CNS Companies, Granite Construction Company, HMMH, Javiation, Kimley Horn and Associates, Q&D Construction, Stantec Consulting Services, STV, and Shunt Construction. Let's give them a round of applause. So there is a few packets floating around. I hope some of you have had an opportunity to look at those and review those. The first order of business is going to look for a motion to accept the minutes from the general membership meeting held January 29th, 2019 at Monterey Plaza. So we have a motion and we have a second. So do we have any discussion on the minutes? So all those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we're going to look to accept the minutes of the special general membership meeting teleconference meeting held on February 28th, 2019. So I'll be looking for a motion there. We have a motion, Mark Whitsoe. We have Scotty Malda with a second. Do we have any discussion with the minutes regards to the teleconference meeting? So all of those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. So the next order of business, I'm going to bring up past President John Stout to tell us about the Airport Leadership Development class, and then he'll roll right into the election for the 2019 and 2020 officers.
Thank you and good afternoon. So this is something we've been talking about for a while. California Airports has a California Airports Council. That group represents all the commercial service airports in California. Last year, they did a leadership development class to help with mentoring and leadership development for up-and-coming airport managers, airport staff. It was very well received, well attended. I attended. Ron Elliott also attended, and several other SWAI chapters. After that class, we were approached by CAC to do a partnership with them. And so Southwest chapter is partnering with them on a class that is scheduled for August 26th through 28th. It is being held in San Diego. Until August 2nd, there is a discount on the registration, so the registration would be $675. It's a 3-day class, limited to 24 participants. And because SWAI does have corporate members, we did get CAC to allow corporate members, so I encourage any and all members. If you identify key staff in your organization, the course is a very well prepped. It does do a 360 eval for all participants, so some of those lower level staff may not get those in your organizations, or like in my organization, I'm not high enough in ours. So that is a very useful tool, and I'd like to really encourage everybody to consider that, sending people. And there is information on the SWAI website under the events section, and so I encourage you to sign up and see if there's any questions on that. Cool, everybody's going to sign up, right? All right, that's it for the leadership development. Now, as past president, I am the chair of the nominations committee, and I want to thank my committee for helping this year. Mr. Gary Mascaro, he's gone but not forgotten, something like that. Mark Batista is also involved, as well as John Fauché. And so we will be passing out ballots. So Gary and John Fauché will be helping with that, as well as Kathy. We'll be bringing up the candidates for a 2-minute brief commentary of what they are going to bring to the board and why you should vote for them. Those with a Fuchsia airplane, those are for our executive members. Those will be the voting candidates, so please raise your hand and we'll get those ballots out to you. And then for their corporate vote, if you have a purple circle, we'll get you the corporate ballot. While they're passing those out, I'd like to have the second vice president candidates come up here, and we'll start with alphabetically Mr. Kevin Buman, and Jorge Rubio will be coming up next.
Good afternoon. Jorge, can you come on up here and join me for a moment, please? All right. Well, while Jorge's walking up, it's been my privilege to serve you as a Southern California director for the last 2 years. I was recently elected to the AAA National Board, and I hope to, if elected with the honor of serving as second vice president, work closely with the executive committee over the next 2 years, as well as the AAA National Board, to bring the best practices of our national chapter, our national organization into our chapter. Service, innovation, and results. We hear Todd Hopley and company talking about that all the time. I think there's a lot we can leverage from that in our chapter here in the Southwest. And I look forward to working with this team to make that happen. So I would appreciate your support. And if you decide not to vote for me, please vote for Jorge. So we had to take a moment as well, because it's not often you just get to stand on stage with a space helmet and look at people together with another astronaut, so we thought we'd take this moment to enjoy the view.
Out of this world.
Thank you, Kevin. Again, if you don't vote for me, I hope you vote for Kevin. Great guy, too. Jorge Rubio, I've been with this chapter for about 12 years since I moved to the West Coast. I'm glad actually to see one of my former employers here, another Jorge with Outports. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to get involved. I've been involved with this chapter, like I said, for a long time. I've been a board member. I participated in many committees. I hosted a conference. I was actually the chair for the Monterey Conference 2014. I do see an opportunity because this chapter is growing at an exponential rate, and I believe that we should provide you with more services. So inclusivity is one of my priorities, and I'm trying to provide services to all of you guys. The other priority that I have is, well, as we all know, students are the future of aviation, and I am looking forward to working with the schools and actually trying to get some of you to visit those schools and be able to get them involved. I was a student at one point. I believe many of you were. So we were all shy to reach to executives at that point. So I'm trying to stop that from happening, and I'm trying to make the connections from the beginning. So I look forward to your support. I look forward to serving you. And if you have any suggestions, if I get selected, please come by and talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin and Jorge. Now I'd like to have Corrine come up and tell us why she gets all of our votes.
Hi, I'll try to keep this short. Thank you very much for letting me come up here, and thank you for the nomination again to serve as your at-large board member on the SWAHI board. If you choose to re-elect me for another term, my goal is to continue to work on efforts to bring everybody together who represents and works with the airport industry, because this includes a wide variety of people and a wide variety of backgrounds and levels of experience, and I want everybody to feel like you have a unique contribution regardless of how long you've been in the industry, whether you're an old-timer or whether you are brand new into the industry. We need everybody's ideas, and so I would like to really work on that effort to help people feel comfortable about participating in the various SWAHI committees and our various efforts. So I would appreciate your vote, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Corrine. I'd like to have Justin and Welton come up, and we'll start with, yeah, we're bouncing around, Dean. We're bouncing around, sorry about that. And he's just very excited to represent you. So your Southern California candidates, we'll start with Justin.
Well, I want to tell a little bit about myself and how I came to be here today. As a newly graduated airport administration Bachelor of Science candidate, I was struggling to get into the industry. And so I was looking around through the AAAE website of who I could talk to figure out where to begin. And I came across Danette, and she was kind enough to sit down with me for a information interview. And that sort of connection with the new people coming out of college, as well as the industry leaders, I'd love to continue that sort of connection with the up-and-coming folks, as well as the people that are well-established.
Hi, so I'm Welton. So for those who do not know me, I've been with SWAHI since I was a student, and since the time I was a student, I have been part of numerous conference committee. I've been part of the scholarship committee. I've also created and chaired the academic relations committee. In that time, I have truly gotten to know SWAHI and its membership, corporate and executive, and you should vote for me because as a former student, mentee, mentor, and a member of the new generation, I will bring new insight to the association and its leadership, and I know that I will be able to bridge the gap between the new and the current membership and the incoming membership. I was very careful with that. Thank you.
Thank you both. Good luck. And next, I'd like to have our Northern California nominees come up, David and Brett, and give their reasons for their vote.
Great, thanks, John. So again, for those that don't know me, I'm David Decoto. I'm at the Livermore Airport. I've been part of SWAHI for about 6 years now since I moved in from the Northwest chapter. During that time, I've been welcomed by the SWAHI folks, and I think the most important thing with SWAHI is the networking and what we gain from talking to our colleagues. So it's been really great for me. I want to continue that. I work to get my CAE here as part of that, being on several conference committees, including this one, and it's been really valuable for me and I think for the group. So I'm going to echo what Jorge had said. To me, the getting the youth involved in our industry is really important, and so I really want to focus on that. So thank you for your support. Brett?
Thank you. Maybe some of you got my email blast. Yeah, I'm that guy. I think it's kind of apropos with Galaxy, Back to the Future, whole thing. But anyways, I've been working with this association for a long time. I think I started back in 1999, right when I got my first job, working at Brackett Airport down in Los Angeles. And I've never ran for a board position because these were people that I always looked up to. Now I get to kind of look down on them a little bit right here. But I was always reserved because I just felt that they always had so much more to give than I could. But I'm finally in a position in my career that I think that I can truly give back. A couple of things I wanted to focus on was I wanted to get a connection. I'd be representing Northern California airports, and I want to be able to connect the Northern California airports and get them more involved in the association. So I'll be doing different things like doing a newsletter every 6 months to talk about what the association's doing, what the National Association doing, highlighting some airports and things that are going on. And then the other Northern California representative, we want to go visit you. So we'd like to go make an effort to go and visit the airports and see how we can get you involved. Right, Andy?
Right.
You heard him. He said yes. So thank you. No matter who you vote for, you can't go wrong. So I'm flying. You're buying.
Thank you. Now our candidate from Nevada. we'll let Dean take the stage.
Threw me off. Now I don't know what to do. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start by actually thanking the SWAHI membership for having elected me 2 years ago and given me the opportunity to serve for the last 2 years. I also want to thank my colleagues on the board for welcoming me to the board and teaching the newbie, bringing them up to speed on how to work and be efficient and helpful. And so I've truly enjoyed my time the last 2 years. And although you don't have a lot of choice in this category, I do want you to know I do take it seriously. I attend every meeting and I do participate, and so it is a serious responsibility, and I have enjoyed it. And but I also believe strongly that whenever, wherever you can give back, you should try to do that. So this is an opportunity for me to try to give back a little bit. Without SWAHI and even the national level AAAE organization, I would not be as the person I am today. The conferences, the committees, the networking, all have given me opportunities to be better and smarter than I would have been without them. So I appreciate these opportunities. I will make a plug, like Corinne, for participation on the committees, and I will even stretch it to join some of the national committees. There's a lot of good people doing good work on there, and there's a lot of good people in this room that could help further that work. So I hope you vote for me. If you don't, please don't vote for Mickey Mouse. I would really hate to lose to Mickey, but thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dean. And now I'd like to have our corporate director nominee, David Sperling, come up. It's going to be another tough race.
Thank you, John. As John mentioned, I am running unopposed, so I will be brief. I'd just like to thank the nominating committee for advancing my nomination. I'd like to thank Matt and Jeff for their hard work as our corporate directors, and look forward to continuing the work that they've been doing. I've been involved with SWAHI for nearly 20 years and been involved in numerous committees, conference committees, scholarship committees, and I look forward to representing the corporate membership. If there are issues that you have, please feel free. I'm always available. And I'm looking forward to working with the incoming executive committee and board as well. So thank you very much, and I'll see you at the corporate member meeting this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you to the candidates. They did have to do paperwork and get everything in. There's a common theme with all of the candidates. It's to get involved, and there's a lot of benefits you can get out of being involved. You get to work with all these fine people and network. So I encourage everybody to get involved, and hopefully next year we'll see some new candidates coming up and have additional contended races. And we'll be collecting the ballots, and the results will be presented tonight at the banquet. If you can hold them up, and we'll be around shortly. I'll turn it back over to Jonathan. Thank you very much.
You get to be in charge. Oh, here you go. So rolling right forward on the agenda, we're going to move into the fiscal year 18-19 financial reports from at least for another 6 hours. First, Vice President Maples. And then she'll roll right into the action items on approval of budget.
All right. So briefly, in the packet that's distributed throughout here, we have our year-end financials, our balance sheet, as well as our P&L. And I'm happy to say that the budget came in very close. Our net income for the year is just over $22,000. And we're very close to budget, so that's the good news. Also, so if I'll entertain any questions. There's no vote or motion on this. It's just there for your information. What we will do next is vote on the budget for next year. But are there any questions regarding the financial reports? Okay. Hearing none, we will move into the action items. The first action item is the budget. In the packet is a draft budget. It shows the actuals for quite a few years now, coming in close to a decade. So we've seen growth occur over time, but we generally tend to be conservative. You'll hear in a minute from Second Vice President Judy Ross about a change to the policy decisions regarding the amount of minimum reserve we have to have on hand. So this budget takes all that into account. I'm happy to turn it over to the president for the action item and to open it for discussion.
So, anybody have any questions with the budget, Mr. Husband? Got it. So I'll look for a motion. For Mr. Husband, a second from Mr. Whitsoe. So any further discussion on the budget? So all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Now we will have Second Vice President Judy Ross come up with policy decisions, bylaws, and procedures.
If many of you were at the Monterey conference in January, we talked about modifying Policy Decision 1904, which is a revisit of the financial reserve policy for the association. That policy hadn't been changed for a number of years and was $100,000. So after a review of a 10-year period, we had discussed that it was appropriate for us to increase it. But the proposal was, and what was approved by the general membership, was rolling 3-year, 50% of a rolling 3-year average. And so the general membership passed that. When we went to implement it, we found out there was some confusion what was included in that rolling 3-year average. And I think it said total operating expenses. So what we went back and revisited with the board in March, and what we're recommending a change to that policy is that it says total expenses, and the total expenses is actually the total operating expenses and the total non-operating expenses. And the non-operating expenses are things like the sponsorships that we do with AAAE, the contributions to the foundation, the legislative, the Contract Tower Association awards, stipends, and things of that nature. So the board discussed this, and we thought that should be considered in that reserve. There isn't much difference in the reserve, but the reserve would remain still around $166,000. So our recommendation is that we clarify Policy Decision 1904 and recommend we consider total expenses in the 50% of the three-year average. That amount this year is $166,000 and some change, as it indicated in your board. So may I call the president up to act upon that?
So we're going to look for a motion for policy decision 1904. We have a motion and we have a second. So do we have any discussions about the policy as described? So all those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, then the second item that I had in the packet that you have and will be online shortly is a total rewrite of the association's procedures manual. John Stout said, maybe I should talk about the little highlights that have made those changes throughout the next 96 pages, but on better thought and time constraints, I will not do that. We don't need a motion on it. I'll just identify that they're pretty close to being complete. You may find some things that still need to be changed here and there, but I'll be happy to pass that on to whoever you voted for the second vice president, but feel free to review those, and if you have any comments or recommended changes, feel free to pass those on to the next second vice president that we'll find out tonight. Thank you.
So now we're going to roll into committee reports, and with about roughly 15 minutes left to do this, we're going to ask the committees to keep it brief. And so We're going to start with the 2019 Summer Conference Committee Chair, Danette Bewley.
Hello again. I'm Danette Bewley. Haven't been up here much. Got some great news. We had 237 total attendees, 18 exhibitors, and 40 sponsors. We have exceeded the goals.
Exceeded the goals and set records. She's being modest. The records have been set.
I don't know the final dollar amount yet. I'm going to leave it to the financial wizards right here to let us know how we did in everything. I think the theme of the conference, though, has been to really thank our sponsors, everybody that is here. You know, we can't do this without you, and all the people that volunteer their time to speak and share their wisdom and knowledge with us. Thank you so much. And I think we'll have more to report tonight.
Thank you. So now we're going to move on to the 2020 Winter Conference Chair, Brett Godown.
All right, just to keep it brief, this will be the 60th annual Winter Conference, so it's going to be big. We'll be celebrating very well for this. The venue will be the Monterey Plaza Hotel, where it's been the last several years, January 26th through 29. We're working with a working theme of best practices cleared for success. Tomorrow we have our committee meeting at the Catalina Ballroom, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So if you're interested to get involved, what the themes have been all along with even the candidates get involved, this is a great opportunity to get your foot in the door to understand the inner workings of this association. So thank you.
And now we have the chairman of the 2020 Summer Conference, Director Dean Schultz.
Good afternoon again. Another shout out to Danette and her team. They've done an awesome job. Almost regret following you on that, but you know, you set the bar high, and we're gonna try to bring it ourselves. And so, thank you for all you've done. Next year, Reno. In all of your bags, you should have seen a little airplane, a wooden airplane. That is actually a bookmark to go along with the book that Danette and her team was gracious enough to provide us. But they saved the date. The conference dates are July 19th to the 22nd. Kathy has negotiated a deal with Peppermill Hotel and Resort, so we have a location. We still have a lot of work to go since we're still on this one. We haven't completely resolved everything for the next one, but we are going to start tomorrow morning. Planning committees, if you're available, Wednesday, tomorrow, 9 a.m., there will be a kickoff planning committee meeting. If you're available, please join that. One other thing I want to do is introduce and have Kim Matthews stand. Kim's actually going to be doing all the work. I'm just here holding the microphone. But Kim's going to probably take the lead and do all the work for us. But she's quite experienced at this. This will be her 4th summer conference during her tenure at the airport. So anyways, with that said, we look forward to seeing everyone, and certainly welcome all help we can get. And thank you.
So we have on the agenda the accreditation final workshop. Niall couldn't be with us, as well as the AAAE Chapter Diversity Task Force. TJ could not be with us. I think Director Fauché stepped out with his committee to count the votes. So if he comes in before we're done, we'll get a AAAE corporate update. We will move on to a AAAE update and Mr. Scotty Malta.
So I've had the privilege and the honor of being one of your representatives on the AAAE board for several years. I want to acquaint you with who else is on that board. Barry Rondinella is my counterpart, your representative on the AAAE board. And this year we have 2 others who have been elected to the board as national directors, and that is our current president, Mr. Hudson, and Kevin Buman. So all 4 of us are currently on the board at AAAE. So congratulations to those guys. You won't see this, but a report I put in the board packet is about 89 pages long, and it's an excerpt out of the AAAE board briefing book. I bring that up to only mention the fact that basically this year what we did was we took all of the corporate reports that the AAAE board has and put them in there for our board to see that. If any of you are interested in any of the corporate, I beg your pardon, committee reports, if you're interested in any of the committees that AAAE has or want to find out more information about those, you have my name and information in the attendance roster. Please send me an email, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to forward you the portion that you may be interested in. And there's so much stuff in there, from PFAS to just all kinds of stuff. So if you have an interest in getting on a committee, and I would highly encourage you to do that, Dean Schultz sitting over there is the chairman of the Ops and Planning Committee, about 300 and some members. So corporates and airport reps, you can be on those committees. Let me know if I can help you get there. I'll be more than happy to. The last thing, if I may, one of the board meetings that I attend for the last several years has been the board meeting in Hawaii at the annual Aviation Issues Conference. One of the things we've done while we were there is to meet with the Hawaiian DOT representatives and the airport managers from Hawaii to find out what their issues are. And in case you're not aware of it, Hawaii is part of our chapter. And I'm just so pleased to have seen several representatives from Hawaii at our conference this year. Aloha, and glad to have you with us.
So we will move on to the corporate members update. Director Leonard or Director Quick?
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple updates on my end as it relates to the corporate report. Last time we got together in Monterey, I mentioned to you guys about the possibility of us putting together some meetings with the FAA from an FAA consultant forum standpoint. I'm pleased to report back that since that time we have been able to hold a meeting back in early June where we were able to get about 50 people in the room, FAA personnel as well as consultants. I know that many of you in this room were able to take part in that, so that was a very productive first meeting, and we're also going to be holding another one. Some follow-on items from that meeting. We're going to do another one tomorrow. So any of the consultants, I think we've got a lot of competition tomorrow morning with various meetings and tours and things like that. But any consultants in the room, I would encourage you guys, if you can, we're going to be meeting at 8:30 in the morning with some FAA personnel. I think it's in a couple of the breakout rooms just right outside the foyer and to your left. So that's at 8:30 in the morning. I would certainly encourage you guys to take part in that if you can. And then also, just from the standpoint of kind of piggybacking what Danette had talked about, I just want to thank many of you in the room. I was able to speak with many of you on the phone and answering some emails just regarding sponsorships and involvement in this particular conference. So we had a great turnout and a lot of representation, so really thankful for that. If you guys have any questions, comments about the conference or anything else, feel free to reach out to myself or Jeff Leonard for at least the next few hours, and then David Sperling after that. But again, thank you guys for all your support and participation in what we've got going on the corporate side of things. And just real quickly before I hand it over to Jeff, Jeff Leonard, as you know, will be stepping out of his role as corporate director. He's been doing this for 4 years now, 2 terms. I've had the privilege of serving with him for 1 of those years, and it's just a lot of time and effort that he's put into that. So I think it would be appropriate to give Jeff a round of applause for all the hard work he's been doing.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to hand over the reins to David. I know him and Matt will continue to do a great job supporting the organization and with a focus on the corporate folks, making sure that their voices are being heard, and continue to carry that torch forward. So continue to support the best way that I can. It has been an honor to serve on the board. Again, as John Stout had said, I can't echo enough. If you want to get involved, even not doesn't have to be on a board level or several committees. It's amazing the networking and the things that you can learn by just getting involved. And I strongly encourage that. It really helps break out of your shell a little bit and not only improve the organization, but also just improve your day-to-day workings with different types of folks. So one other thing I'd like to bring up, we'd like to transition the responsibilities for preparation of some of the conference materials. We've been doing it for the last a little over a decade. And if anybody's interested or has somebody in your organization that has some good graphic talent, marketing type materials, we're looking for someone that we can share our experiences with to transition from the monitor displays that you see, preparing the slides and the different table tents and the golf boards. So We'll discuss that a little more in the corporate meeting this afternoon, but if anybody, even from the airport side, executive side, has somebody in their organization you think they might like to do that, we'd be happy to help share that transition and for the upcoming Monterey conference. So thanks again for your support while serving on the board, and thanks.
So a couple of the other committees down the list have reports in the packet, and we're gonna go ahead and move to time and place to kind of keep us on track. So we'll invite First Vice President Maples to come handle time and place.
Thank you, Mr. President. So you've already heard about Monterey coming up, and you've heard about Reno next year. So some of the exciting news we have to share is there was some question about whether we would be at the Monterey Plaza again after our 60th anniversary, and I'm happy to report that we will be for at least one more year. So 2021, we will also be at the Monterey Plaza. And we actually already have a venue and a date for our summer conference in 2021. And we haven't inked the contract yet, but I'm happy to report that it's going to be in Northern California, and we are going back to Sonoma County 10 years later. Last time it was in 2012. It's going to be at the DoubleTree there. And Mr. Stout has clearly said he's not going to chair it this time, but he will have staff involved. So that's it for time and place, unless there are any questions. All right, thank you.
Okay, now we're down to directors' comments. Any comments from Board of Directors?
I just want to kind of echo what we've heard, and I got an ask too. I've been doing the exhibitors for many years, working with the exhibitors, and I've had some help and stuff. So I'll probably be flying around with Brett quite a bit, so I won't have time to do that. No, just getting involved in stuff. So if anybody's interested, I could use the help, but I also encourage everybody just get involved at any level. There's all kinds of opportunities and stuff, and I think that's how everybody gets started, and it's really important. So, just thank you, everybody. Thank you all of the participation and everything it takes to make all this happen. So just wanted to reach out to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more directors' comments? So now I will call for any member comments. Seeing none, I will look for a motion to adjourn the general membership meeting. And a second? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.